Hi YouTube! I hope you're all having a relatively good day, because it's hard to say a good day in these times and ages that we live in. I've decided to upload a video on this channel, although this channel hasn't been active for years and years and years, and I'm aware of that. I do have another channel in Hebrew, which I do stuff on. But I decided that I wanted to do these particular videos and vlogs on my English channel, because I think that one of the things that really helped me right now, and is really interesting also, not just helping but very interesting, is seeing other people around the world. What happens inside my own community is actually I get a look into it very easily, and I can see within the Facebook groups and from talking to people what's going on, but it's much more, not much more, but it's very interesting to see what's going on around the world. So I decided I'm going to do these vlogs. Maybe this will give us a little bit of insight into what's going on in my own world, and being able to communicate this to maybe some of my relatives who do not speak Hebrew and do not live in my own community. So yeah, I'm speaking about mainly my grandfather here. So this is it. I'm going to start this video I'm going to start this series of vlogs in this particular video on where we are right now, where this video is starting. So as always, I have to look at my phone because I have no idea what the date is today. I think a lot of us don't even have a clue as to what day it is of the week. So today is Wednesday, wow, it's Wednesday. It's the 25th of March. Also, I'm going to give you a little bit of but information as to who I am, and then we're going to take it from there. So, my name is Miriam. I probably should start the video saying that. My name is Miriam. I'm 34 years old. I live in Israel. I live in a city called Ashkelon, and if you're Christian or you read the Bible, you might also connect that to a particular time in the Bible, which have mentioned this city more than once. So yes, it's a biblical city. I live on my own as of January this year, and where I am in life right now, it's a very sensitive issue. I have finished my internship, my law internship, last March, and I've gone to do the bar exam in Israel twice so far. I was going to go for my third attempt in June. Before I will give you also a little bit of extra information, I am what's called a complicated patient, I guess you would call that in English. I'm so used to saying that expression in Hebrew. I am a type 1 diabetic. I'm also what's called a brittle diabetic. I might go in a different video about that if that interests anybody, about that definition and what that means living with it. I also have, among other things, I have fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome, and I have some other problems like I have a bad back, so that's always fun. Anybody who has a bad back knows that. Before the first time that I went for my bar exam, I was actually doing pretty well, and then it was obvious that something was happening, but it came to a boiling point, which also made my diabetes kind of erupt and ended up in DK, which is not the first time I go through DK. Unfortunately, my body does not respond well in that category to stress and stuff like that. And I had Graves. You might have heard about it. It's an autoimmune disease that causes hyperthyroidism, among other things. And one of the things that's very characteristic about this particular illness is it makes your eyes bulge out, although I didn't really have that, and it's only apparently common within 30% of Graves patients. So, the second time around, I didn't really invest as much as I should have. I will be honest about that. And other things in my life were kind of happening at that time, which made me really not invest time and energy. And I also just didn't have the, what's the word I'm looking for? The motivation to sit down and study. And if you've studied for the bar exam, I think this is kind of worldwide usually for these kind of tests. They are a full-time job. In terms of job and employment, I've been working very little at the past year. I do typing jobs, and I'm looking online for anything like that. and I can do translation and tutoring and stuff like that. And I've actually have experience in that. So that's a little bit about myself. What else do you need to know about me? I think that's pretty much it. That's where my life is. In terms of employment right now, obviously I'm not working. There's nothing going on. It's very sad to me. I was thinking about trying to find another job in any case because I kind of really needed the money. I'm in that point in life where I was going to just, you know, breathe through it and just do this next few months until I do my bar exam in June. And just, I was kind of on the breaking point. I really did not have extra funds. I did not have any savings, which I've kind of eaten into. So this whole situation is really putting a huge stress on me in terms of financial stress, which is also causing me emotional stress, which I think is very understandable. Like a lot of people, I do get stressed by financial situation. And like some people, that's like the number one thing that can push me over the edge. And a couple of days ago, I broke down and cried. And I actually started 2 days last week. No, 1 day this week. And another day before that, and past the end of last week, just starting a day with crying. And that was probably one of the best things I could have done because it really relieves stress. I think one of the other things that I decided to do is keep a vlog and do some video editing and stuff like that, because it's one of the things that I really used to enjoy, and I stopped doing so much when I started my internship because that's a full-time thing, and I loved my internship. I did it in criminal law, and I really wanted to put into it as much as I possibly could, so I knew that anything else that didn't have to do with that it just gets pushed over, and that's fine. It's a period in life, and I'm really happy I did it. But doing videos always made me kind of happy. And one of the other things that's really cool, it's made me put makeup on today. The reason I started YouTube was because I started really doing a YouTube channel that had to do with my diagnosis of fibromyalgia, but it evolved into what I really wanted to do, which was makeup and beauty and fashion. And I'm a plus size girl, and I had a blog, and I'm very active in that world, and I even practiced some styling, working as a stylist for a couple of years. So as it is, I really like doing this, and I really kind of hope to connect with some people over YouTube. I always think that's a wonderful way of meeting people. I love internet. I've had internet for relatively a young age, and that has just opened up my world. And especially for somebody who sat at home for a long time, a couple of years, when I was first diagnosed with fibromyalgia and trying to figure out my life, and that was parallel to me studying law, which was it kind of got mushed up. It took me 8 years to finish my degree in law. But I'm going to end this particular video on this note, and then I'm going to go and edit it and upload it immediately, and that would be interesting. I have a problem because I haven't sat in front of a camera for a very long time, so I keep looking at the viewfinder. I'm sorry. It's something that you practice when you video often, but I haven't done it so long, so that muscle and that practice I'll get better, I promise. But yeah, that's it. So yeah, my name is Miriam. I'm 34 years old. I'm single, so me being quarantined at home means that I'm home alone. I do have family. I have my parents live in a different city. They live by my sister, so they're an hour and a half alone. My parents are over 60, so they are self-isolating for the most part. They're not too concerned of socializing with me because I'm pretty much not going out, being in a risk group of its own. My sister is working from home, and her husband is actually going into work, but I don't know what's going to happen starting tomorrow, and I'll explain about that. And my brother and his wife are working from home. If you can work from home, I have to say that even if I had a job right now, I would probably go out and work because I think it would keep me so sane. There's a word in Hebrew that says dafka. right now is exactly the time to do that. That's what dafka means. And because it would keep me kind of sane during this time. And it's amazing because I live in a city that does get rocket attacks every couple of years. But this is far more stressful to me. As of right now it's noon, it's 2 o'clock, and that's my current news update. They're talking about, we've been in a semi-quarantine situation. It's been gradual here. What happens is they have moved, a lot of companies have worked, as I said, my brother and my sister. As I said, a lot of people, like my brother and my sister, have been moved to working from home. But they work in high tech, so that is totally possible. School has been canceled for, I think, 2 weeks at this point. That was the major point, I think, where people started realizing they're not serious, because schools have such a ripple effect in the entire, on everybody in society, because it means that parents who work now have to stay home with their kids. About a week ago, the court system decided to also go into a semi-working situation, and that's in place until the 1st of April. School systems were supposed to go on spring vacation. That's always coordinated with Passover here, so that's usually about 2.5 weeks that school is off. And I don't know when it was supposed to start, but I know that Passover is in about less than 2 weeks, I think, at this point. No, it might be exactly 2 weeks today. It's on Wednesday night. So Passover is 2 weeks ahead, and kids were going to be off. They started trying, and I'll make a separate video about that because I think it's an interesting topic all on its own. But kids teachers were trying to teach over the internet and stuff like that. Today, workplaces you could still work, as long as you kept certain rules like social distancing of the 2 meters and no crowding, etc. A couple of days ago, they again, I said it's gradual. A couple of days ago, they decided to limit gatherings of more than 5 people, but you could go out and if you went out in order to exercise and to breathe air, I guess that's what you would call it, you were allowed. The problem is that Israelis tend to be very nonchalant about a lot of things, and I guess that what stands in the essence of this. People went out. People went to the grocery stores, just hanging out. And when you went to the grocery stores, you could actually see 2 different kinds of people. You could see the people that wanted to get out of there as quickly as possible, and it usually was one person. They didn't take their kids with them, and it usually was early in the morning or late at night. Actually, and now we know that that's not necessarily a guarantee for an empty grocery store. And then you see the other type, which kind of, I need something to do, so I'll go to the grocery store, and even more so, oh no, I have kids, I have to keep them busy, I'll go with my kids to the grocery store. But other places were still working. They made it so closed doors are considered essential needs. They've closed down restaurants for at least over a week now. That means that they didn't close them down. They could still do deliveries and takeaway, but you couldn't sit at the restaurant. So as some Israelis, I said, were nonchalant, what they did is they picked up their food and takeaway, and then, a couple of guys, and they went and they sat in the park with their food over a couple of beers. And that's not what you're supposed to be doing. We, as of this morning, it's not clear if we had 4 people dead or 5 people dead yet in Israel. All of them over 60, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm trying to find the number. We are over 1,000 diagnosed, confirmed cases in Israel. Sneezing is not a symptom of the disease. Let's see. They're talking about 4 dead, and I'm trying to find the official number. I think it's around 1,400 people confirmed diagnosis. Hospitals are are hospitalizing people with corona, but they have moved. Last week, I think a week ago, they started talking about hospitalization at home, and they've really moved into that because they realized they really need to keep the hospitals available for the more difficult cases. And yeah, the first people in Israel, by the way, diagnosed were people that were on what's called the Corona boat. It was a ship, it was a cruise ship that docked in Japan. A lot of people on the ship were, not a lot of people, but there were some people diagnosed on the ship with corona. And there were some people on the ship diagnosed with corona, and the authorities in Hong Kong, you might have heard about this because there were Australians on this cruise ship and Americans, and they decided, the authorities in Hong Kong decided to do quarantine on the ship itself when it was docking. Eventually, a lot of countries, what they did is they transferred those particular citizens of their country into quarantine, but near country, and that has moved out. I think about 2 days ago, the last person from that ship who was hospitalized in Tel Shomel, which is a hospital in the center of the country, released their last corona patient from the cruise ship. So yeah, that's kind of what's happening. They're talking about every day there is another, I said it was gradual, and I keep saying it about 7 more times, I guess, during this video. But they're talking about always upping the quarantine, because it's not a full quarantine, as I explained. And they're talking about making it more severe, and the new restrictions will come into place at 5 o'clock today in the afternoon. It's now 2 o'clock. I'm trying to find the information. I did have this on my phone, which is sitting right here. But it basically means that they really will restrict, for real this time, grocery stores and medical. You will be allowed to leave your house to go to medical reasons and grocery shopping, and you will also be allowed to leave up to 100 meters from your own home in order to walk around and get some fresh air, I guess. Playgrounds and parks have been officially off limits for a week now. What else? It means that they will really restrict people's movements. So again, you can get stopped on the street. And they also say you have to take your identification card on you at all times, which is kind of a law in Israel to begin with, but it's never really enforced, I guess. But if you want to go to any official office, you really should have that with you. Okay, that's my news updates, but nothing really interesting. Yeah, I'll talk in a different video also about the political climate right now in Israel, because that's a whole other issue and it might not interest you in this particular video. So I'm going to end the video at that because I've been blabbing away for almost 20 minutes. I'm going to edit this video and hopefully upload it today. By the time you see this, it's probably going to be that the new restrictions are going to be in place, if they really are going to come in at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. If you want to know where more or less we are in terms of time zones, we are about 8 hours ahead of the United States and a couple of hours ahead of time before most European countries. And we're a couple of hours after New Zealand and Australia. So we're kind of in that time zone. So yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm going to do this more in the vlog format, more of this kind of sitting and talking in front of the camera. To show you what my life looks like, although they're really not interesting right now. So much you can do when you're home alone. I'll probably upload vlogs about a daily or semi-day, like every other day basis, because I don't think that there's more to do in that. But yeah, let me know how you're dealing with this, where you are, what's the situation where you live. These are interesting times we live in, so yeah. Thank you. Again, comments and questions, please leave underneath this video down below in the comment section. And that's it. So I hope you have a sane day. And please stay home. It's for the health of everybody, including your loved ones, and especially the medical teams, which are clearly under enormous stress. So stay home.